And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100% agree. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
Well, it is the Wednesday edition of the Weighing In podcast. We're coming to you live from San Jose, California, and places unknown. That's me. Not saying where the hell I'm at. I'm in Tennessee. I'm lying. So what's up, my man? We have another show coming up. We've got the big heavyweight battle that's coming in the UFC with Mr. Rozenstruik against the man Cyril Gane. And we've also got a couple of really good fights in there. Got Jimmy Rivera coming back against Pedro Munoz. That's going to be a fantastic fight. We are always having fun. Just did a nice podcast with the Irishmen, Ross and Barry. That was a good time. You guys got to go check out their podcast. We will bring that up later. And we do have the Irish Spirit. If you go to ProWrestlingTees.com, we have a special weighing in St. Patrick's Day shirt for you. It looks good. It's got the date of March 17th on there, and that's when it's coming up. And you can get that at ProWrestlingTees.com and use that promo code of Plethora. That is our promo code. You can pick up that shirt, wear the green, and not have someone pinch you or punch you in the head. What's up, Josh?
What's going on, man? It's good to be back. We filmed on Sunday, and now we're back on Wednesday, and it's gonna drop probably in the morning. I'm amped up. I'm ready for this to come up this weekend. We've got the fights, and then we've got a bunch of other big fights coming up also too. The following week and the week after. Oh, and then the week after, and then the week after that.
And the week after that, there's multiples.
Jeez, man, it's gonna be so much fun. I'm amped up. Obviously for me, I'm amped up for the Bellator to start back up and then just run it through, and all the big fights coming up for the UFC. There's been a lot of announcements also for the PFL, and then also some of the announcements for the One Fighting Championships. Yeah. I'm amped up because everyone now is starting to find their stride and where they're going to be at for MMA in terms of every promotion now starting to set their dates, and we're going to be packed with just a lot to talk about. Thank God. After a whole year of trying to make things happen, we've decided this has been great though. I'm amped up. We're growing. The show's getting bigger. Podcast Dave is finally starting to do his job, and we are on track, man. We are on track. I'm loving this. John, I'm loving the fact that we get to do this twice a week. And then when we start working, we'll be doing it 3 times a week in terms of we get to call fights together, and then we get to do this. This is the best. This I don't even know how to understand how are we so lucky? Blessed. We're blessed.
So someone is looking out for us. I will tell
yes.
Absolutely. God, I've had so much going on, man. I've been busy and stuff, but we got a lot to talk about when it comes to the fights coming up, because there's some decisions to be made here. There's a lot that's going on. There's a couple of fights that are going to fall what I call under the radar that are going to be really good fights in this next card. I think this is what, one of those UFC cards where you look and you go, it's not that good. It's going to be good. It's going to be a really good. There's certain Kevin Croom against Alex Caceres. That's going to be a great fight. I actually love Angela Hill got another fight. She wanted Keisha Torres. That didn't happen, but Ashley Yoder stood. She stands up, takes the fight. And like I said, I think the Pedro Munoz, Jimmy Rivera fight is going to be fire. It's a good matchup. That should be fun to watch. So all kinds. And Alex Hernandez is back, and he's going against Thiago Moises. Another good fight. They got a lot of really good fights coming up on this card. So it's going to be a definite show to watch.
Well, let's start with the main event. Let's go. Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Cyril Gane. I'll tell you what, I love Rozenstruik. I think he's tough as hell, but I think
I hear a but.
I'm being honest, man. Bon Gamin, Cyril Gane. I believe that he is a more well-rounded fighter. I think he's got the very good stand-up along with, Rozenstruik. But, dude, he's big, he's strong, he's fast. I just think that he's coming up, and I think he's got just more tools in the box there. I think he can open that up, and he's got submissions. He's not just looking for the knockout. I'm kind of leaning towards him, and I love Biggie Boy. Biggie Boy he's fun to watch. I'm not sure that it's a good stylistic matchup for him. Although the only guy that's put him in the loss column in the UFC is a guy that hits like a freight train coming at you in Ngannou. So I don't know. I don't know why I keep on looking at Cyril Gane and thinking, man, this is the guy that I think is going to give Rozenstruik some problems.
Have you not seen the side-by-side body comparison? That's why you look at. That's why
No,
I look at Cyril Gane. I'm like,
bodies don't mean nothing.
Look at this guy. How do you like go against him? He's built like a Greek god. I mean, like, okay, guys.
Let me get you going back 1 second. I want you to think of a fight. It was only like 2 weeks ago, and it was Rodrigo Vera against Hernandez. Look at the body types. And look at who won.
Yeah.
My man Hernandez.
Let's talk about that fight in terms of that one guy was cutting weight. Neither heavyweight has to cut weight.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I know. Neither heavyweight has to cut weight. They're both 248, or they both weigh in around 248. 162, 165. Cyril Gane, I think, has the ability to keep the pressure on him, press him against the fence, take away his striking, mix it up like you're talking about. The athleticism will be there. He's got to set up his takedowns or at least get into the clinch a little bit better by punching his way in. If he doesn't do that, he's going to be there to get hit. I think I have to, and this is like vinegar coming out of my mouth, is that I agree with you.
Ooh, look at that.
I agree with the fact that
damn,
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, this is a huge jump up in competition for Cyril Gane. But if he can get this win, that puts him right in that conversation of potentially not being next for a title shot, but fighting one more person and then getting to that title shot. I think it would have to be someone like a Derek Lewis, though. He'd have to beat a Derek Lewis. He'd have to beat the loser of who's fighting right now, Stipe, and he'd have to get one more big win, I think, to get him that title shot. But I'm looking at Cyril Gane. If he fights smart and uses all of his abilities, I think he can win this fight, and I think he can do it pretty, I wouldn't say easily, but it could be kind of one-sided if he fights a smart fight. If he decides to stick on the outside and he gasses himself out, forcing the takedowns or trying to stand, he's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, his stand-up is very good.
It is.
And that's really my whole reason for saying I think that he's got the tools to actually get this done is he's more well-rounded. He's got, 3 wins by knockout. He's got 3 wins by submission, where if you go and you look at Rozenstruik, here's the guy, man, he is power. He is a guy, he's going to come, he's going to try to take your head off, and he's got 10 KOs. But if you look in that submission category, there's a big goose egg because he doesn't even think about that. He is going to try to punch his hand through your head. So just the fact that on the ground, one guy has the ability to not have to use strikes, has other tools, that's my big difference maker. But this is a great heavyweight matchup. When you were talking about, man, the heavyweights have kind of got me excited. This is the kind of fight should definitely get the fans excited because this is a great matchup.
Yeah, because stylistically, like Cyril Gane can take the fight in other places, but will Jairzinho will he be able to? Will Jairzinho be able to keep him in the center of the cage and make him stand with him? That's the one thing. Can he stop 1 or 2 takedowns, or can he keep himself out of the clinch so he's not blowing himself up and slowing down the striking in that position? Cyril Gane has all the abilities, but it really comes down to fight IQ. Who can fight the best and the smartest fight? Jairzinho can just keep him in the center of the cage and stick and move and throw big, heavy shots when the opportunities present themselves without overextending himself to get put into that clinch or that get taken down. Then he's got a good chance of winning. But if Cyril Gane fights a smart fight, I think he can make it a one-sided fight for 3 rounds or not, sorry, 5 rounds. But for 5 rounds. Or he can get the finish. If he's able to get the takedown, I can see a potential submission as well.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And it's clear, Rozenstruik has got such power. We were arguing about the Overeem fight. Overeem won, like I said, he won 4 rounds, 4 minutes and 50 seconds. And that's a win for, Rozenstruik because he knocks him out in that. And so he's got that ability at any point in the fight. That's what always makes him scary.
Well, I guess my next question is the winner of this fights who?
It's a good question, but you're looking at the guys who just fought, and I could see that the winner of this will go against someone like Derek Lewis.
Yes,
I really look at that. This is a fight. Derek Lewis, you're looking to watch the fight because you're probably going to get matched up against one of these guys. He's not going to get that step up, where people are talking about championship fight.
No.
Nope, that's not going to happen. He did beat Curtis Blades. He's now ranked right behind Francis, and I think Francis is going to get that next title shot against Stipe. But then you take a look, and if Rozenstruik wins, he was ranked number 4. I think he's going to jump Blades, and Derek Lewis and Rozenstruik would fight. And if Cyril Gane can, get the win, I think that they're going to jump him up into at least the 4th, position where Rozenstruik is at now. And they could even put him up to 3.
Yeah.
And that right there puts number 2 against number 3. That would be the way I look at it right now. The winner of this, you're looking at that guy that's called the Beast. He's going to be the next opponent.
Yeah, I could see whoever wins this fight fighting Derek Lewis, because remember, John Jones is going to cut that line, which everyone, just so we're clear, he deserves to cut the line. We talked about.
Yes, he does.
I don't want people to think I'm throwing shade. He deserves to cut the line. I think he's definitely earned it. He deserves to be up there. If he's going to be ready by then to fight, and if they can get their contract stuff negotiated out first, then he'll cut the line. He'll be right up there to fight the winner of Francis Ngannou and Stipe Miocic. So if those two fight, and then the loser of that will probably drop down after that and fight someone like a Curtis Blades, or maybe a Volkov, or maybe a Cyril Gane or something along those lines. But I as much as I think Cyril Gane's probably going to win, like you were saying, but I want to see Biggie Boy and I want to see Derek Lewis fight. That's the fight I want to see. Fun. That's the fight I want to see.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about two guys that just go after knocking you out. So
yeah, exactly. So the fight I want to see is that one, but I think Cyril Gane gets it done. And then I think he does the same thing to Derek Lewis.
Really?
I think that he basically the format would be very similar to how you beat both of them is the very similar format.
Yeah.
Game
plan would be close.
I think Derek Lewis got a little bit more power than Jairzinho, but I think Jairzinho got a little bit more cleaner stand-up.
A little more technical.
A little bit technical, more cleaner stand-up, yeah. So, but I mean, either way, like I said this, 3 weeks ago, man, heavyweight division is not really doing it for me. And then like a week later, I was like, all right, foot out of the mouth. Okay, here we go. It's coming alive. It's coming alive. I'm amped up I'm glad that the UFC is putting together.
That's because there's good matchups.
There's good matchups to be had. That's true. So good stuff on their part. Let's see. Look, when we were talking about this fight card, I'm not as on it as you are as terms of it's a sneaky good one. Not yet. It's got some good names on there that can make it sneaky good. Angela Hill being on there, Yoder being on there, the two of them stepping up, having that fight. I think that's gonna be a good fight. Caceres versus Croom, that should be a good fight, like you were saying. Good fight. But the fight that most interests me, like you said, is the Pedro Munoz and the Jimmy Rivera fight. That's the one that most interests. I'm surprised that's not the co-main event.
Oh, I was really surprised at where they put it comparatively when you look at who's fighting and why. But I think they're trying to push Magomed and his fight against Nikita Krylov. Krylov's good. Krylov's stand-up is dynamite.
Yeah,
he is really good, and he's got a serviceable ground game. Good defensive wise, doesn't pull off a lot of submissions, but Magomed is a beast. And so I really think they're trying to show Krylov and Magomed in this to show, hey, we've got these guys and they're really talented fighters. So I don't think people just don't know them as much, but in the 205s, they got to start building guys.
Yeah.
They don't have, you've got the fight with obviously, Jan against Israel, and that's going to be a, spectacular matchup. But then Reyes is coming off a loss. Look at some of the different, guys that they have in that division. They got to build some stars. Glover's getting older. Thiago Santos is, he's exciting and explosive. I always say it right. Rakic is the way I say it. I think that Yuri Prochaska, he's exciting because he's tough. He's crazy. He's unorthodox. He'll take a beating and then come back and whoop your ass. So they've got guys, but they've got to build them because people don't know him. People really don't know who Yuri is. Rakic, they do. Iago, they do. Glover's getting older, and that's why you got to bring in a couple more guys. And I think that's what they're doing.
That division got real stagnant because of John Jones. Like it's
Yes.
that people just didn't care about the rest of the fighters that were in that division. John Jones was so dominant. Every time someone was going to fight, they're like, I'm just going to watch John Jones. Either I'm going to watch to see him lose or I'm going to watch to see him win. Either way, you're going to watch because John Jones is fighting. They didn't care who he was fighting. They just wanted to see him win or they wanted to see him lose. It had that little bit of that Floyd Mayweather effect. You know, and he wiped out the division. And then on top of wiping out the division, everyone just lost interest in whoever else was in that division. So when that happened, now they've got to rebuild some stars out of there. And I think it's great that Izzy's going up there because it adds a new flavor, you know, and it's just that something different, something new. It's like, the champion 185 is up there at 205. Let's go. Like that's all I hear people talking about right now. Is how they think Izzy's going to walk through Jan. And I'm like, ooh.
I don't know if he's going to
walk through him, but
technically is where I look and I go, technically there's not a doubt in my mind. Israel Adesanya is the superior stand-up fighter as far as what we look at for stand-up skills and the ability to utilize a variety of attacks where Jan he's more boxing centric. He fights like a boxer. He uses great, footwork to get inside. He lands big shots. He just doesn't use all the tools that MMA provides. He's decided what works for him, and he's going to stick with that. And I'm not saying he's wrong because he's been spectacular in his last couple of fights. So, it's an interesting matchup. It really is. It's the power of Jan Blachowicz against the talent and just all around stand-up versatility that Israel Adesanya brings to the cage.
How tall is Jan?
Jan's about 6'3".
So he's about 6'3". And what does he come in normally at, you think, fight day? 240?
I would say he's walking into the cage the night of the fight somewhere around 230.
So then the kind of around where Paulo Costa comes in, but Paulo Costa's shorter.
Yeah.
Paulo Costa's what, 6 foot? So he's 6'2". Paulo Costa's 5'11".
No. Paulo Costa's taller than 5'11 now.
6 foot? 6
Paulo
foot?
Costa, I would say 6. He's close to 6.
So he's not. So then Blachowicz not that much bigger.
No.
Damn. So yeah. So Paulo Costa is 6 foot.
I can tell you what one of the fights I did of Paulo Costa when he was fighting, he weighed in at 185, and the night of the fight he was 228.
That's okay. So that fight, and then you got Jan who weighs in at 205. Probably you're saying walks around about 230 by the time he comes into the fight. So it's very similar type fight
as far as size.
Yes.
But
okay. But I would say the speed of Paulo Costa is faster than Jan.
Yes.
Yes.
I would agree.
Okay.
What is that saying, Josh? That's my whole point in the fight. Look, there's no doubt in my mind. Jan Blachowicz, however you want to say, I said Blachowicz. He definitely can win this fight. Yeah. He's the champ for a reason. He's a tough dude, man. He's good. I really enjoy watching him. He is just he's one of those blue collar workhorse fighters. He's talented. He was champion over at KSW for a long time, then came to UFC, had a couple wins, had some losses and stuff, got himself back on track, and he's been just spectacular. And like I said, the last 2 years, he's been just outstanding. But when you are facing someone like Adesanya, he's a different beast in the stand-up because when you think you can hit him, you don't.
Yeah.
He's able to pull out and to make you pay for coming in trying to hit him. If I was Blachowicz, I would watch exactly what, Kelvin Gastelum did in that fight that he had with Israel. The pressure that he put on Israel, that's what I believe Jan needs to do if he wants to get a win. He can get the win. He's got to create that kind of pressure at times and make Israel have to always be moving, always be adjusting to what pressure he's bringing.
I just don't think that Jan can do that because of the way that Gastelum is shorter. The movements are different. The speed is obviously a factor as well. I mean, Gaslam's a lot faster than Jan is.
Yeah, his hands are fast.
Yeah, so everything's going to be a lot different, whereas Izzy has to punch down to hit Gaslam, where he's got the punch probably equal to eye level.
Straight.
Yeah, to hit punch straight to hit Jan's. Those things play a big factor when you're trying to compare the two things. I agree that he needs to make it more of a dirty, grimy fight if he's going to get that win, or he's going to make it a competitive fight. He's got to touch him, but he's got to make sure that he makes it a grimy fight, trying to catch him in the transitions. I don't know if he can do that. So,
well, yeah, you're not only transitions. The one thing, Israel's very smart. If you're watching him, very smart about how he takes his breaks when he gets a breath. You watch the movement. You watch what he does. He knows exactly when I need a couple seconds here to take a deep breath, and he does a couple different little movements to do it. He makes his opponent kind of stop and wait, and then they come and gives him his break every time. If Jan's watching tape on Israel, every time he sees that, he needs to go forward and go after him. Don't give him that break that he's so used to getting that makes him feel comfortable.
Yeah, that was somebody else did that as well. I think Benson was doing that in the second fight with Chandler. He said every time Chandler takes a step back and bounces around, that's him taking his rest. Yep. So I got to put the pressure on him. So that was didn't work out for him, but it was a good mindset. It was a good mindset though.
And it was also it's a good game plan.
Yeah.
It's a good. I'm not going to sit there and say what Israel does.
Yeah.
But watch and you'll see it.
Got it. Back to the Jimmy Rivera and Pedro Munoz fight. That to me is going to be a barn burner. The whole fight will be a barn burner. That whole situation. I think the two of them coming out, like Pedro hasn't fought since Frankie, correct?
No.
So that was his last fight.
First fight. This is his first fight back.
Yeah. He lost to Aljo, and then he lost to Frankie. So he's trying to get back on the winning track. But I feel like that fight was so close.
A lot of people don't feel that he lost that fight.
Yeah, it was a close fight.
Yeah, it was super close.
Yeah. But all in all, the two of these guys are going to come to the center of the cage and just probably throw down, get after it. Jimmy's going to probably try to mix in the wrestling quite a bit. I don't know if he's going to be able to get him down, but he's going to throw some big dogs in the process. But that when you mix up the wrestling with those big punches, Pedro's going to have to make sure he makes the adjustment of dropping the hands and defending the takedowns without getting caught with big shots.
It's not an easy thing to do, man.
John's like
without getting caught. Yeah, that's a great plan, but you got to make it happen. That ain't easy. Pedro's got, first off, his guillotine is dangerous, and Jimmy many times comes in, throws his hands, and goes to wrestling. He wants to get in the top position. He needs to be very careful of the guillotine that Pedro Munoz possesses, because, man, if he gets it in place, you're not getting your head out. He's going to squeeze and he's going to pop your head like a pimple, and it's one of those,
like I do the podcast, fight. Dave.
It's a dangerous fight for both guys, but I think just the way I'm looking at it, Jimmy, from what I've seen in his fights, kind of plateaued for a while. Then he started, he's feeling good again, but I don't think he's in the same place as he was at one point in his career yet still. I think he took a little bit of a step back. I don't think Pedro has taken that step, even with the two losses. He hasn't really taken a step back. The real question is mindset between the two. I think right now, Pedro's in a position, he's feeling the pressure. I got to perform. Might make, those little drastic moves at times because of that pressure that gives Jimmy Rivera the opening that he needs. But that's the real question. I think performance-wise, Munoz is in a better place. I think mentally, Jimmy Rivera is in a better place. That's one of the reasons I just love the fight.
It's going to be a good fight. I don't know much about Croom, but I know that Caceres is tough. He's good. His movement, his grappling's not bad. Like the long lengthiness of him. He's also seemed like he's matured, I think, a little bit as a person. So he's actually taken the fighting a little bit more serious. Tell me more about Kevin Croom.
Kevin Croom is a guy, he's trained by James Krause.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's had a lot of fights where if you look at his record, got a lot of losses, as far as I think 12 losses on his career or something. But, Caceres is the same thing, but it's the losses that he had. He's learned from it. A lot. Some of them were, he had some wins in the beginning, then he had a lot of losses, and now he's in that position. He's had like 3 or 4 wins, I want to say, and then he had a no contest. But he is good. He is a tough son of a bitch, and he will stand in and throw with anybody. Caceres likes to stand up, be slick, a lot of movement, and he likes to be in that stand-up game. Well, Kevin Croom's going to be in a stand-up game with him, and he's going to be pressuring him the whole time, daring Caceres to throw strikes because he loves to counter on those strikes. So it's just going to be a fun fight. They're going to end up in a position where they're both in the stand-up. Someone's going to tag the other guy. That guy's going to go down. The other one's going to try to finish him. Don't know if they can do that, if that's what's going to be the end of the fight. But this is going to be one of those barn burner fights. I think they're going to come out. There's going to be a little bit of, in the first round, little bit of feeling out, unless Kevin Croom just does what I've seen him do in the past and just goes for it and goes after him, which he has. And it's just going to be Caceres. How do you deal with the pressure that Kevin Croom's going to bring?
Like Angela Hill came, she was coming after Tisha Torres, trying to get that fight. Tisha Torres already beat her, from what I recall.
Yeah, I did the fight.
Yes. So Tisha Torres already beat her. Yeah. And I'm just trying to figure out why there was so much. She's saying, like, why Angela Hill, I understand why she wants that fight back, but it doesn't make any sense for Tisha Torres to take that fight again. Tisha's ranked.
Not at this time.
Yeah,
it really
not at
doesn't.
this time. It doesn't.
Yeah,
so
I would agree with you. Not at this time. That's not a smart fight.
Yeah,
for Tisha Torres to take. She already won. She's on a win streak. I believe Angela's on a couple fight losing streak. Even though you can look at her fight with Michelle Waterson, a lot of people thought she won that. Her fight with Claudia Gadelha, a lot of people thought she won that. She lost them both by split decision. So yeah, she's on a couple fight losing streak, but she's been fighting well, and she's been fighting a lot. That's the big thing. But if you go back and Tisha Torres' last fight, she looked fantastic.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Tisha at all for saying, you know what, get a win, get another win. We'll do it again. Until that time, it's not going to help me at all. And I don't think it's going to help Tisha if she fought her again.
Yeah.
Right now.
I agree. Yeah. But that should be, I think her and Angela Hill and Yoder would be a good fight. Should be fun.
Yeah.
The thing is,
Yoder on the ground, look at Angela Hill's kryptonite throughout her career has been the ground.
Yeah.
She's really good in the stand-up. She's gotten way better on the ground. I'm not saying she hasn't gotten better, but Ashley Yoder on the ground, she's good. She's tough.
Yeah, but Angela Hill's got a lot better at stuffing the takedowns, seeing the takedowns, also avoiding that ground, and then also using her footwork and her movement to avoid letting people get in on the clinch as well as the takedowns. She's gotten a lot better all the way around in terms of her confidence. I think also, even though she knows that even though she's lost her last 2 by split decision, she seems a lot more confident in there, and just like it's fun for her right now. And those are dangerous fighters to fight because they almost feel because they're out there enjoying the moment. She loves every bit of that. And like, I agree with you. I don't recall the Gadelha fight, but I do recall the Waterson fight. And I remember how great of a fight it was, but I did have Angela Hill slightly, I think, ahead in that fight. Yeah. But it was a close fight though, back and forth.
In the Gadelha fight, I believe I had Angela Hill winning the fight. I thought, Gadelha won the first round and then she lost the next 2.
Your judging's usually a little bit off though, so it's like,
now we're gonna get into this.
The judging a little bit. Sometimes the reffing's off too.
Don't be jealous, homie. Don't be jealous.
Oh man, is there any other fights on here that stand out to you?
If I'm looking down the list all the way, I always love Dustin Jacoby because he's just a junkyard dog. Tough dude, great kickboxer. That fight with him and Maxim is going to be, someone's going to sleep. Just going to say it because Dustin is not the guy that is the submission guy in any fashion or anything. And Maxim's got a ton of experience in MMA. It's going to be just a barn burner fight. I think it's going to be fun.
Pull up the rest of the card on that. There you go. Alexis Davis. When was the last time she fought? She hasn't fought in like what, 6 months? Maybe even longer than that. A year?
Been a while.
She made her.
July 19.
Yeah, July of 19. Over a year. Jeez. 2 years.
Almost 2.
Jeez. Whew. I know because she had a baby, correct?
Yeah.
She had a baby and then she came back and fought once or twice. Scroll down again. Let me see. Yeah, but I mean, like, she try to get her back on track. She fought 2018, 2019, 2019. Maybe she hasn't fought since she had the baby. I'm trying to recall when she had her baby. Yeah.
But the girl she's fighting, Sabina Mazo, she's good. Her stand-up is dynamite, man. And that's the greatest picture I've ever seen of her right there on the screen. I don't know what podcast Dave is throwing up there, but
that's from Sure Dog.
Is that a Sure Dog? Yeah. She's been training with Chris Cyborg a lot. That's her training partner now. She came from Colombia, and her adversary in Colombia was Alejandro Lara. They had a good fight back in Colombia. They were both, I think, undefeated at the time. I think they were undefeated. Maybe Lara had a loss, but Mazo beat her and looked good in beating her. Definitely won the fight, and her stand-up is really good. But now her ground game is really getting better. She used to just hold on the ground. Now she's getting herself back up. She's learned a ton. Obviously, Alexis Davis is a ground fighter, likes to bring the fight to the ground, black belt in jiu-jitsu. But in the stand-up, I'm telling you right now, Sabina Mazo is going to light her up in the stand-up.
Not doing Alexis Davis any favors.
Nah, that's a tough fight because Mazo's fast. Alexis Davis isn't that fast. And so in the stand-up, you're going to see Mazo just piecing her up until Alexis Davis can hopefully get her hands on her to close that distance, get that clinch, and keep herself safe.
Well, in another promotion, PFL announced some of their matchups. And Anthony Pettis at the top of that list right there, right? Against Clay Collard.
Against Clay Collard. I love Clay Collard. He's good. He's fun. I did a couple of his fights in the UFC. He's a dynamite stand-up fighter. And obviously Pettis is a great stand-up fighter, and I think that's why they put him together. Pettis definitely has the advantage on the ground. I think he's got a superior ground game to Clay, but in the stand-up, it's going to be fun because they're both highlight reels.
Yeah.
That's a great matchup. And I'll give it to the PFL for putting that as their first matchup. They're saying, hey, we want an exciting fight. And they're putting in a position where Anthony Pettis, the guy they just signed for a lot of money, that is no cakewalk. He is not getting an easy fight.
Is this the tournament? Or is this just like one fight to get into the tournament?
No, I think you're in the tournament from the start. It's the matter they've got that point system.
Got it.
So when you're fighting, you've got that point system. If you win in the first round, you're going to get so many points. If you win in the second, you get less. Third, it's less because it's decision,
so complicated.
Well, that's the problem.
Not that I don't like it. I actually like the idea of it all.
It's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea at all. It's just complicated. You have to go into their brackets and their website to follow their brackets and see exactly who's got what points, who won by what. If you watch the fights, how much is that really worth? Is the submission worth 2 points, 3 points? The knockout, what's that worth? I mean, I do like it, but I'm not good with math. And so I get really screwed up when I start looking at the numbers, man.
I know you're not good with math. I said, what's 1, 2, 3 in the last show? You go, I don't know.
It's 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, 3.
That's what it is. It's 1, 2, and 3. Oh, man. Marcin Held used to fight in Bellator. Did he go to the UFC ever?
Yes,
he did. Right after Bellator released him, right? He went to, I think he went to the UFC for a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Dude, he's a leg lock specialist.
He's good.
That dude's leg locks are good. His ground game is dynamite. The one thing about him is he goes after those submissions so hard. Many times, he's going after takedowns really hard. He burns a ton of energy.
Yeah.
He is like a freaking race car with a hole in the gas tank. He is spilling fuel. And so if he gets you on the ground, you're in trouble. He's great down there. But you just got to make him fight at a high pace, and you're not going to be fighting the same guy in the second and third round.
Yeah. I feel like he just relies a lot on his leg locks for everything. And once people realize that's all they have to kind of defend, like with the Paula Harris, who was it that smashed him? The guy with the really ugly tattoo on his shoulder.
Alan Belcher. You're talking Paul Harris?
Yeah, who beat Paul Harris.
Well, they was going the best. Alan Belcher came into MMA as a Muay Thai guy.
Yeah.
In fact, he fell victim. The very first Darce choke ever in the UFC was done by who?
So
Come on, man.
Obviously against Alan Belcher.
Yes, it was. It was Kendall Grove. Pulls off the first Darce choke ever in the UFC. And it was against Alan Belcher. And from that, Alan Belcher started becoming a really good ground fighter. His submission game near the end of his career, he was outstanding. You're talking Alan Belcher was not only a great fighter, he's a great businessman. He's helped a lot of guys out with gyms and learning how to train guys and how to run their gym like a business. But his fight against Paul Harris, man, he was going leg lock for leg lock with him.
I was
surprised.
Remember, man,
it was awesome, and he got the win in that. And
Paul Harris just gassed himself out doing what Marcin Held does, trying to get the leg lock, and he couldn't get it, and it cost him. He just got smashed down after that. But I always think of the first Darce / Anaconda was in Pride with Nogueira.
Yeah, that was an Anaconda choke.
Anaconda, yeah. So that was kind of the first time I actually don't even know where the Darce came from, because all I recall is Nogueira doing the Anaconda, and when did the first...
The Darce came from a guy named Mike D'Arce. That's why it's called Darce.
That's right.
And Mike was the guy that trained out of... it's Cobra Kai. It was Mark. What's Mark Lehman's school in Vegas,
yeah.
And Mike used to hit this move on everybody, and they called it the Darce because he was Mike D'Arce. So that's where it came from.
Who was the first one to do it in?
Well, there's the question. A lot of guys, from jiu-jitsu will say, "Well, that's the Bravo choke."
No.
And so, it's the same type of thing, but no one was doing it without a gi. And Mike was the first guy that was really hitting that thing without a gi and did it a little bit different. So the setup was different, but anytime, people are looking at that stuff, there's always a story behind where something came from, really. But that's where the Darce choke came from.
Yeah. Cause everyone likes to say that jiu-jitsu came from Brazil.
Well,
but no, I get what you're saying. The fight to me though, is cause I'm a big fan of Lance Palmer, but Bubba Jenkins and Lance Palmer, the wrestling pedigree of each other is going to end up probably neutralizing each other, and they're going to end up having to stand.
Which is not a good thing for Bubba.
Yeah, it's not a good thing because he has a way of leaving himself open when he strikes.
Yes, he does.
But the wrestling between the two of them.
Oh yeah,
gosh! Like when I talk about two ferrets getting after it, like
we're talking what, Ohio State versus Arizona State.
Yes,
right. That's good. Both guys wrestled high level. Both guys are great wrestlers. But Lance Palmer is the guy, if you're looking at both of these, Josh, he's the one that has created a more fluent MMA style where his stand-up is at least adequate in the fact that he does things technically right, and he can stay in the stand-up and be comfortable.
I agree. No, I think Lance has gotten so much better from the first season of the tournament that he did to the winning it the last two times. He's just gotten so much better, and he's gotten so much more confidence, I think, by fighting consistently and having to know what the schedule is. And he's gotten better every time he's fought. And I'm just a big fan. I'm a big fan of Lance. He's got a great personality. He's a great person.
Super guy.
And he's and he's come out and trained with us here at AKA several times. And just a walking book of knowledge too with wrestling, comes in and helps and doesn't try to like hold anything back and wants to spread his knowledge. Good guy, super good guy. But that's a great fight.
And so is Bubba. Bubba Jenkins is a super guy.
Yeah.
Well, just a wonderful human being, man. One of the nicest guys out there. And he's had some tough fights. Bubba Jenkins' kryptonite is Georgie Karhanian.
Yes.
It was like every time he got in the ring with him, it was bad news, but Bubba's good.
So Pettis had said something in an interview where it's like, it's on ESPN, so my audience is the exact same as it was in the UFC. Do you know, like, about that ESPN deal with PFL?
Well, I think it's on their ESPN 2.
And Plus.
Yeah. Well, it's good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, like if you're sharing the format with the UFC, and I don't want to take a dig at the PFL, but then when they turn it on, they realize there's not a UFC logo in the cage, they're gonna turn it. And it's like when it comes to like, hey, you're on ESPN, I'm hoping they get some people to start following them. I like the PFL. I like the guys that are fighting in there. I think it was a huge signing for them. They signed Verdum, they signed Pettis, and they've got guys that they can build around. I want them to be successful because the more places the fighters have to go, the better. So
you're absolutely right. And they've got some really good fighters. People are always they're not going to recognize some of the guys that they have. They have quite a few guys from Eastern Europe that are really tough dudes. Johnny Case is a guy, he fought in the UFC. He fought in Ryzen.
Mm-hmm.
He's fun to watch. They got OAM, Oliver Aubin Mercier that was in the UFC. Great wrestler. Hopefully just moving forward with being able to utilize that wrestling to the point where he's going after the submissions. When he got into the upper levels, he had a hard time with it, but he's a tough dude and he's talented. But the guy that they've got, Brandon Lohane from England, he's good. He's a good fighter. I did his fights over in ACB in Russia. He is a freaking tough dude, good fighter, ton of skill, and he's going to be fun to watch.
Well, I mean, like I said, I'm hoping that they continue to grow and get better and able to build their roster. But in the other side of the country, in One Fighting Championship, they did a little bit of an announcement also that Sage Northcutt is fighting, and he's got a little bit of his hands full. If he can't keep this fight on the ground, or he can't keep this fight on the feet, he's got his hands full. He's fighting Shinya Aoki. Shinya's not the same guy that he used to be, but on the ground, he's still nasty good. And the long lengthiness of him, his leg locks, his ability to get the fights to the ground, it's a different style of how normal people get their fights to the ground. He's okay with butt scooting as well. He's fine with trying to jump guard. He's fine with trying to jump to leg locks. He's fine with all of that. Sage got his hands full, but I mean, obviously you want to give. Shinya's been knocked out a couple times. Sage has the ability to do that with kicks, striking. He's got fast hands. I think he's physically a strong kid. I just don't know if he can avoid the submissions.
Super athletic.
Yeah.
They call him Super Sage for a reason.
He hasn't fought since breaking his chin though, or his jaw, right? Or his orbital. You got to figure his last fight was against Cosmo Alexandre, who I thought when they made it, I go, that's a stupid fight to make, man. Well, Sage is he's not gonna take someone to the ground. He's gonna stand and fight. That's where his strength is. And Cosmo is, first off, he's huge and he's a great kickboxer. He's tough as hell. And he broke Sage's face with that one right hand. So now you go and you're putting him in against someone that, yes, in the stand-up, Sage has got a chance of winning this fight. On the ground, he's in deep trouble against Shinya because I don't care if Shinya is older, he is. But if he gets on the ground with Sage is in trouble. Yeah.
He's going to be doing nothing but trying to defend against things that are coming his way. And I'm not sure that his ground and pound style is good enough to cause the problem for Shinya to stop that offensive attack that he will be coming at him with if he's not getting hurt.
Yeah, I agree. But for me, I guess you have a big name like Sage, who I consider to be a pretty big name. And then you've got Shinya Aoki, who's basically a legend in the sport. I think it's a good stylistic matchup for the two of them, and also for the fans to actually to see a fight between two notoriety guys, two guys that have big names. So good stuff on their part.
What weight did they say that fight's going to go off at? Because the last fight that Sage had was at welterweight. He had fought many times at lightweight. The last couple, I think, were welterweight. And
was it at welterweight or was it at 185? Because remember they do the dry test or whatever it is.
That's right, they do.
So they actually fought.
I'm wondering what they're going to weigh
at 185. When he fought Cosmo, he weighed in at 185. Him and Cosmo both, but they said it was a welterweight fight, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
So they're calling this one's 170-pound lightweight division.
Okay.
Yeah, because what they do is I don't know if they have them make the weight like a couple weeks beforehand, or like a month before, 2 months before, whatever. And then they have them fight at whatever their normal weight is. And they just do a hydration test coming into the fight. Something like that. I got to look more into it and see exactly how they break it all down. But I mean, I think it's a good fight for both fighters. Shinya's chin's not the greatest as he gets older, and he wasn't great earlier in his career either. And, but his jiu-jitsu is way better than Sage's. And Sage, his movement, his ability, and all that, I mean, I think he's going to definitely play a factor. He's got to make sure he sticks and moves. But it's going to be a good fight. I'm excited. Reminds me of the beginning parts of the sport, kickboxer versus wrestler, or vice versa, jiu-jitsu guy versus wrestler or whatever. So should be good. But that's good though I think that's good for everyone. Let's go. Okay, so MyBookie, mybookie.ag, mybookie.com. Use the promo code weighing in, and they will give you 50% on your deposit.
Give you extra money.
Extra money.
That's
great.
extra money.
Yeah, everyone likes extra money.
money.
I like extra money. Yep. So
Especially
check them out.
If you win on your bets, you'll get a lot of extra money.
Hey, we've got the UFC this weekend, so check that out, and you guys can pick up some bets off that card as well. So do your best and give them a call. Check them out.
Check out mybookie.ag, as you say. What does the AG stand for?
I don't know. It's a British thing.
It's not British.
I don't know either.
All right,
Podcast
guys.
Dave, that's your responsibility. You're supposed to know that.
All right. Okay, so we're going to talk now about Valentina Shevchenko. They got announced a fight with Jessica Andrade. I love Jessica Andrade, by the way.
You said that's the fight that you wanted to see a while back.
Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, she's got the power. She's not cutting that weight anymore. She's at 125. I think that's
125
better
is
for her.
good as far as her not burning out. It's a great weight for her. She is a little bit,
Yeah.
I don't want to say short in the arm length,
Yeah.
short in everything when it comes to that weight class, but I think it's better for her to fight there. She's strong as hell.
Yeah, she was strong as hell at 115. At 125, though, I think she'll have the endurance to go the full 25. She'll be able to wrestle for the full 25. I think she's gonna carry her power even more because she's gonna have more weight behind it. We've seen that with a lot of the guys as well. Like DC at 205 didn't have as much crack. At heavyweight, a lot more power. There was just certain fighters they're able to transition that power. Like when Max fights at 145, Max Holloway fights at 145, I feel like he's got pop, power, and speed, everything. At 155, he had the speed but didn't have the power to translate it against the bigger guys. And so I think with Jessica Andrade, I think she'll continue to have that power and probably even increase it a little bit with a little bit more weight behind it. I just like her style of fighting.
Good. You take her in this fight. I'll go.
But the thing is that if she's able to, I know. I just don't. I think that's the fight to make, though. Out of all the other fighters that are in there, she's to me is the only one that will really give her a run.
Yeah, if you look at the weight class, Jessica Andrade, she got there by beating Caitlin Chikugian, and then in that fight dominated her. Basically, it wasn't like Caitlin was in it. Lauren Murphy has got a true place to stand and say, hey, I now deserve this.
Yeah,
she has been fighting well. She is tough. She's got a really good ground game. Her stand-up has improved as far as the technical side of it. The speed's going to be a concern of mine with her against Valentina, but she does have, a foot in the door saying, hey, I deserve a shot here. Jennifer Maia obviously had that shot. Cynthia, she lost that by losing her last fight. There's just nobody else when you look at that list that you go, yeah, that's a person I want to see fight against Valentina, because I believe they have a real shot at beating her. Jessica Andrade is the best opportunity for someone to take that title away from Valentina. I just don't think she's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be able to do it either, but I think she's going to probably make it the best. She'll have the best performance out of all the other people we see on that list right now.
Yeah,
she will give her the hardest fight, I believe.
She will
give her the hardest fight. Look, the reason why I think Lauren Murphy will kind of give her a little bit of a a go for the first couple rounds is because her body size is pretty big as well.
She's strong.
Yeah, she's physically strong, but she's also got a bigger frame body, and not like in a bad way. Just her structure is bigger.
No,
and so
together, man.
And she carries the muscle and the weight very well. So I think that will give Valentina a little bit of a problem for the first 2 rounds, but then she'll figure it out, and she'll do what she always does, and she'll just start picking and choosing her shots and taking the fight anywhere she wants. That's the one thing that's happened over the years, is that she's gotten so much better on the ground. Her wrestling's gotten so much better, and she's putting it together so well with her takedowns. The way she clinches and gets her trips and takedowns it's almost effortless for her. And I think she's gotten so much better. So with Jessica Andrade, I think she's going to have to mix this up, make it a dirty, grimy fight, and just kind of fight her. She needs to fight Valentina Shevchenko the way that Gastelum fought Izzy. She needs to make it that type of fight.
Man, look at this. We're both saying this. We're both using Gastelum against Izzy, saying this is the style of fight you need to do. But sometimes it is, especially when you're the underdog. You've got to create that pressure and that problem that makes that champion that's got all that skill, or, not saying that Gastelum and Izzy, that was an interim fight, but you got to create that problem for them. And sometimes pressure can be a problem for everybody. That's why I look at the person I think that would be the most fun fight to watch against Valentina is the strawweight champion, Weili Zhang. I think that because of the pressure she brings normally and the way she fights and how explosive she is, that would be really a fun fight. But I look at it and I think that Valentina would win it.
Yeah, I think Valentina would win it as well. And if you go back and you watch the Joanna fight with Weili Zhang, then that lets you know exactly how that fight would work out. Joanna was picking her apart in the first 2.5 rounds. And then Weili Zhang was able to start kind of like touching her. And then her shots were obviously more powerful, but she was getting pieced up by Joanna until Joanna started slowing down a little bit. Wasn't able to keep her footwork and movement going for the whole 5 rounds. Whereas Shevchenko, the size will be a factor. She's not going to be able to, or Weili Zhang won't be able to like take those type of shots that she took from Joanna because Shevchenko's got power. Yeah, she's got more power and she's physically a bigger person. So
I agree.
Yeah, but that's more MMA math and anything can happen, but I really just feel like the only fight there really is after Jessica Andrade for Shevchenko to take is go back to the Amanda Nunes fight.
Well, I think that's if you want a challenger and say, hey, this is the fight that, is going to, show if you have that ability to beat the person that now is the number one. Yeah. I actually absolutely agree. But right. We're going to see what Amanda does. Cause Amanda's taken her last couple at 145. She likes that weight class.
I'm sure she
does. We're going to see what happens with that weight class. Cause if she beats, she ends up beating Megan, there's just no one there, at 145. So are they going to keep it? And then is Amanda going to keep fighting at 135 in the bantamweights?
Lot to be answered coming up.
Yeah.
We'll see. Dave, what else you got for us, buddy?
Just these comments that came from DC this week. Nothing too
Who's
crazy.
DC?
Josh's BFF.
BFF. Daniel Cormier, buddy.
So he seems to have an opposite opinion as to what you have.
I thought it was Dominic Cruz. I'm sorry.
Could be that as well.
You've been saying leave Khabib alone, and he's telling Dana keep pushing it.
Old Khabib said, leave me alone. He said, don't force me to make any decisions that are going to upset my mother. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm not saying you shouldn't talk to him about it, but you got any opportunity you get to say like, hey, are you ready to come back? Then take it. But let's not go out there vocally in the media and say like, yeah, let's do this. Khabib's not done. Like, stop doing that. Because that's publicly making it known that you're putting pressure on him. But every time you see him in passing, it's not like you don't
talk to him.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to him. Like, hey, what's going on? How are things? Care more about, I think, with him, with him, Islam, the guys from Dagestan, the ones that I know. Okay, I'm not saying all of them, but the ones that I know, ask them how they are. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them how, like, what's going on. Like, get to know them. Don't just look at them as like, you're pay-per-view dollars. I get it. That's your job as a promoter. But I get the feeling that's kind of it's been structured all about business, and they don't really give a shit about your business. They care about their business and their family and their close friends. They don't care. And so like you saying like, oh, you can make this much money, or like, oh, we could, we make you a star. I'm already a star and I've already made this much money. I'm like, it doesn't, those things don't rattle them at all. And so I think if he just continues to see him in passing, say, hey, let me know when you're ready. I'm here. Let me know. I have ideas. Let's talk whenever you're ready. Like, I think that is a lot better approach than coming out public and saying, yeah, I'm not done with it. I think he still wants to fight. That's putting pressure on him, and that's putting pressure on his mom too. Not that his mom probably reads the headlines, I don't think, but I'm sure
I don't think his mom is reading the MMA headlines.
But I'm sure she hears about it. I'm sure she hears about that people are people are talking like, oh yeah, I mean, people follow him. I mean, they follow him everything he does. And so anything that Dana says about him, it's going to get back to his family. 100% is going to get back to his family.
I always look at it this way. Good things come to those who wait.
Yeah.
Dana, just give it time. You have the contract. You have the ability to keep him from fighting for anybody else. All you have to do is wait, because eventually he's going to come back. He's going to come back and he's going to tell you, hey, this is the guy that I would like to match up with. Then it's just a matter, does it work for your promotion? You like it.
Is he going to come back, John?
Yes, he is.
You think so?
Guaranteed.
You think so, John?
Yep. Yeah, I do.
I mean, I just don't see anybody that ignites him for him to come back.
Hold on. Right now, I think you're right.
I don't.
But
who else?
But
okay,
there will be that guy.
Here's my concern.
Things change.
Yeah. Here's my concern with that. Is that because I am a friend of his? Is that it just turns into this? I don't want to see him come back after a 2-year layoff. I don't want to see that.
And I understand why you don't.
I don't want to see that. I want to see
because
Khabib.
You're not going to see the Khabib that could be in there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a guy that, he's still good. He would still be good, but he's not going to be the guy that's better than the one that was fighting before and everyone else is getting better.
Well, look, I know GSP was able to do it, but GSP didn't look the same as he looked when he was at 170.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He didn't look
first off, he didn't look the same against Bisping. He looked good in the first round.
Yeah.
And he was giving Bisping some problems, but Bisping was a hurt fighter going in. He had some bad problems going in.
Well, he had one eye.
He had one eye. He had a bad knee and a bad rib.
Yeah.
So, he had things going into that fight. And if you remember that fight going into the third round, hey, Bisping was starting to touch him good.
Yeah.
And George was slowing down, and George landed a beautiful left hook. I will tell you, Freddie Roach called that hook during the break, told him, hey, I want you to wait for this. But, he was having some slowdown based upon he hadn't fought in a while.
Not only that, but
he got
carrying the weight.
Got the job done.
Carrying that extra weight makes a huge difference.
He wasn't much bigger, I'm telling you. He really wasn't. He tried to put on weight.
He looked physically bigger, though. I feel like his legs, I mean, not that I was checking out his ass, but his legs and ass looked a little bit bigger. He looked a little thicker around the trunk.
You were definitely checking out his ass.
Says the guy that was checking me out when I was changing before the podcast.
That's because you came into the room with your dad bod belly hanging out, man.
So you must have got me mistaken for Podcast Dave.
No, I did not.
I don't come in here naked for a start.
Dad bod, only dad bod in here is Podcast Dave. Oh man! All right, well, hey, let's talk about these Bellator. Bellator dropping some stuff on their Instagram and talking about the rankings for the welterweight division, and they listed 5 of them. They talked about the females at 125. Talking about their ranking, 145. 145 pound rankings, and then also their rankings for, I can't see. Oh, it looks like 155. Right, 155 for the lightweight division.
Well, let's go. I see the first one up there is the welterweight. I kind of like it.
Oh yeah.
Where is it? Okay, you got Douglas Lima is obviously the champion, but if you took those 5 guys right there, where do you put them? I'm telling you right now, Amazov is number 1.
Yes.
It's gotta be.
Yep.
All right. You're taking a look at I love Jason Jackson, and Jason Jackson is I think he's the guy. He's the sleeper. Everyone's gonna just like not think about him, but he's the sleeper there. So I'm gonna go with Michael Page as number 2, but I'm gonna go with Jason Jackson as number 3, which is I know a lot of people are gonna go, what about Gracie? Yes, Neiman Gracie is great, and I would put him at number 4, and Paul Daly would be my number 5. But you could interchange any of those after Amazov.
I'm gonna go Amazov. Then I'm gonna go Jason Jackson.
Ooh, look at you! You're using my whole sleeper thing.
Then I'm gonna go Neiman Gracie.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Page, and then I'm gonna go Daly.
Okay,
that's where I'm at. So I got Amosov, Jason Jackson, Gracie, Page, and then Daly.
But they're pretty interchangeable when you look at it.
Are they really? I have Gracie and Jackson being interchangeable, but Page and Daly are not. They're 4 and 5. They're 4 and 5, and then Page has got the win over Daly, so that makes them 4 and 5. Yeah. But I could see Jackson and Gracie being interchangeable, the two of them, because I think if Gracie's able to get Jackson down, he's got a great chance of finishing him on the ground. It's going to be hard, but I'm saying he's got a good chance of finishing him on the ground, and
he's got a chance of finishing anybody.
Yeah, and he's not that he can't stand.
No,
he can stand with him as well. I mean, but the one thing is, Neiman is a big guy for 170. His body frame is, but Jason Jackson is also that same thing. His body size is huge for 170. If you guys actually look up on the website on YouTube,
and he's a bit faster.
Yeah, you'll see some sparring sessions between him and Rockhold, and he's giving Rockhold some fits in a couple of those sparring sessions. And to see them get after each other, it was pretty impressive. He's a big guy. If you see him next to Luke is big for 185. Jason Jackson and him are about the same size. Jason being a little bit smaller, but I mean that's big for 170. Huge for 170. Yep. So that makes for a good fight between the two of them. I would really like to see Jason Jackson and Michael Venom Page. That'd be a great fight. That'd be a great fight.
Great fight.
You know?
It would be fun.
We'll see. We'll go to the women's 145.
Well, all right. You go first. I went first last time, so I will hand it over to you. Where are you at?
You know, it's hard for me.
Cyborg's the champ. We know that.
Cyborg is the champ. It's hard for me because I want to put Kat at number 2. Or whatever, number 1 on this ranking here. But number 1, I want to put Kat over Julia Budd. And then I want to put Julia Budd. And then I'll put Blancow. And then I'll put Smith. And then I'll put Kavanaugh.
Okay.
But
I like it.
The Kat situation in Budd, it's only because Kat, I know, walks around 40 right now. Like she's walking around maybe 145, 150. She's been, something's going, like she's like, I've been training, like my weight's been staying down. I don't know if she just got on a better routine for her diet, whatever it is, but her weight has been staying down. She's walking around like 150, 151, 152. So she can make 35. You know what I mean? So when you're talking about size-wise, Julia Budd is that size. Kat Zingano right now is not that size, but I think the two of them would make for a great fight, Kat and Julia Budd. But I'm going to put Kat number 1, put Julia Budd number 2, then I'm going to put Blancow, and then Smith, and then Kavanaugh.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Why are you putting Kavanaugh down at 5? This is a girl, man. She will stand up, and that's the big difference, and fight with anyone. But if you're putting Blancow ahead of her, we saw what happened with Blancow against Cyborg, and I like Arlene. She's a tough, fighter, but they're both stand-up fighters. Leslie Smith has got a ground game. She, trains with, Gil Melendez up there, and she's, got a really good ground game, but she likes to stand up and brawl. She had a great fight with Kavanaugh that could have gone either way. She got the nod in a split decision, but Kavanaugh was lighting her up at times. It was just the forward pressure that Smith brought that I thought the judges gave her the decision on. This is one that can go, through all of them. You look at it. I think Bud has got the advantage when you're saying over Zingano, but I will tell you that I look at Smith and Kavanaugh as the dark horses in this thing. I think that they can beat anybody on the right night. They have to fight the right fight. Sometimes Leslie Smith loses her mind in a fight and just wants to come forward and land shots and doesn't realize how many shots she's taking to land those shots that she wants to land. She just needs to be a little bit more defense oriented in not getting hit at times, but she's good, man. Her stand up, she is as tough an individual as you'll find. I love Sinead Kavanaugh. Sinead Kavanaugh is just a blast to watch because she goes out there to take your head off. Zingano, like you say, I watch, I've seen her fight for a long time. She comes into Bellator. She got a nice win, but she's got the best wrestling out of all of them, except Bud matches up with her the best when it comes to the wrestling. But I think her wrestling is actually better than Bud's as far as getting the takedowns. When it comes to position on the mat, I think Bud is better than Zingano. I think she utilizes her hip pressure on. She's a monster on top of people when she gets on top. So, but this is one of those interchangeable ones. If I was going to rank them right now, I would probably say that I'm going to go with Bud first. I'm going to go Smith, Kavanaugh, Zingano, and Blenko. But it's fun.
Wow.
I know.
You're going to take Smith over Zingano.
Yep. Right now.
No.
Put him in a fight.
No, I go back to that, Dave. The reason why I say no is that Cat gets the takedown, Cat on top. Cat is more dominant on top than Kavanaugh, then Smith, then Julia Budd on top. Like Julia Budd on the bottom, there's really no answer. Bottom. No, I'm saying Cat's going to, in that exchange between Julia and Cat will be on top, not Julia. Julia's not taking her down. The wrestling pedigree, I would go with Cat. Cat's going to be the one on top. That fight on top.
You did see Cat get taken down in her last fight, right?
Yeah, didn't care though. She dominated the fight. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Anyways, I get where you're saying. A lot of them are interchangeable depending on how they decide to fight. But I think the two that are not, to me personally, it goes. The two that are not is Bud and Zingano. Those are the two that can be like that. The rest of them can be interchanged in any way, whether 3, 4, or 5. But I think Cat and Julia can go 1 and 2, and that's it. The rest of them need to go 3, 4, and 5. All right, next one. Ooh, lightweight.
Oh, trouble.
Oh, lightweight. The fight that I want to see,
trouble.
After looking at this here, I want to see Primus versus Outlaw.
Really?
Yes.
I want Primus versus Pitbull.
I want to see Primus versus Outlaw.
I want to see Primus versus Pitbull.
Well, Outlaw takes down Primus. If Outlaw takes down Primus has got the answer on the submissions. But Outlaw's damn good on the ground as well.
What are you talking about? Outlaw's a black belt from Renzo Gracie. He's good on the ground too.
Primus been subbing Jake Shields and other guys.
Brent Primus on the ground is a monster.
Yes.
His jiu-jitsu is legit. He pulls off great submissions. Dude, he pulled off a go-go plata. You just don't see guys his size pulling off go-go platas. He is legit. I look at this list, and it's, to me, the real question is, where do you put Benson Henderson? Because Benson has a win over Jury, so he's got to be ahead of Jury.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jury, looks and says, he didn't lose that fight. He did. He didn't do enough, and that's why. But I look at this, and this is one of those ones that could go either way. I think Primus is your number one. I think he's the guy that, you got to put it number one with it. I would say from that, I would put Pitbull number 2, Henderson number 3, Outlaw number 4, and Jury number 5.
I guess the question is, where do you put Usman?
Well, Usman is not fought yet, so you can't put him anywhere. That was part of their whole things in the ranking.
Where do you put him? John.
If he comes into this, he's outstanding.
He's undefeated.
He's going to be right up in the top 2.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
Dude, Magomedov.
Khabib's brother.
You don't need to see the guy that was in the UFC. You just watch his brother.
Yeah, it's really Khabib's brother.
Yeah,
because Dave's trying to pull it up right now for us. But and then where do you put Adam Piccolotti? He's in that mix as well.
He is in the mix. He's right at it.
Yeah,
but he had that fight with Sidney Outlaw, and this is the reason he's not that guy in that list. Is he lost to Sidney Outlaw in a great fight. I picked it as one of my top 10 fights of the year for Bellator. It was a great, that was your 2 ferrets just going at it on the ground. They were switching position. The wrestling techniques that they were using were fantastic. The transitions were incredible. That it's just a great fight. The other guy that you look at that missed weight and they're making him move up that should have been on that list was Goichi Yamauchi.
Yeah. You've got Goichi Yamauchi, and then we just signed a stud out of American Top Team, Alexander Shabley. He is damn good.
He is good.
Very good. And everybody, and I've sparred and trained with him, he's good. I was obviously towards the end of my career when he came in and trained with us, but I've seen him I've seen him train with a lot of other guys. And all the buzz at ATT is that he's giving people some fits. Everybody. He's one of George's Masvidal's main training partners. He's doing a lot of work down there with those guys, and he's having a lot of success. The other guy, Mandel Nalo.
Mandel Nalo, most of the time, he's fighting. He does like to fight up at welterweight at times, but he's fighting lightweight. But Nakaev, the guy who had that great fight against Kerman Lashinov, he did that at welterweight where he normally fights at lightweight. But I think he blew out his knee in that fight, so he's going to be out for a while. But he's tough as hell.
Yeah, I'm amped up, man. The 55-pound weight class is going to shape up. The ones that we've just seen right there are not even the ones that, like, you've got Khabib's brother, Usman, and then you've got
going to be
Shabli. I don't know how you say his last name. I think it's Shabli.
Yeah, it is Shabli.
Shabli. You've got him, Alexander Shabli. Those two guys right there are going to come in and just, they're gonna make themselves felt right off the bat.
You also got a guy that he doesn't have a ton of experience, but man, he is athletic and he grew up in this sport. Lance Gibson Jr. is going to be good.
Is he 45 really though, isn't he?
No, man, he's a 155er.
I thought his last fight was at 45.
No, I don't think he could make 45. No way. He's
right there.
Too big.
Yes, his lightweight.
It says lightweight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, I swore
he's
was
good.
45. Oh, all right. Well, hey, I'm excited. I'm amped up for that. There's a lot of good things.
What about Keone Diggs?
Yeah.
Keone Diggs is good, man.
He's really good.
Really good.
Shit. Gosh.
See, now you're starting to get excited about the lightweight.
I am. I wasn't excited about our lightweights, man, for a while. I wasn't. I was like, we've had like the same top guys there at the top. We've got a lot of new blood coming in. That, man, I think Keone Diggs, when you brought him up, I was like, why didn't I think it? He's perfect, man. He's good, nasty good. Sneaky.
Dude, he's gotten so good. His stand-up is so slick. His ground game is good. He's the full fucking package.
Keone and Pitbull would be a good fight.
Yes, it would.
Keone and Pitbull, and then you're saying Primus and Benson?
I would put, right now, you've got to put Primus and Benson.
Yeah, and then you've got...
I said Primus and Pitbull was the one that I would have picked with them, but...
What about Outlaw and Yamauchi?
If Yamauchi would make the weight.
Yeah. He missed 45 or 55? He missed 55?
He missed 55 because he was down at 45 for a while. He went to 55. Now he missed that.
How'd you miss 55?
He missed it by 4 pounds.
Jeez, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, gosh. I'm amped up, man. I'm amped up we got a lot of good fights coming up. A lot of good fights. I feel like, jeez. We're going to be busy, John. This podcast is going to blow up. It's going to blow up. Yeah, we did the Energized podcast for the guys from Dublin, from there out there in Ireland. They're a great group of guys, man. I actually met one of the guys there on the show, but I met him at the Jameson Distillery out there. And boy, he tapped into one of those old casts.
He lit you up.
I was like, man, I can't be drinking this stuff. It's way too strong for my ass. It was.
You have zero appreciation.
Oh man, zero appreciation. It was so strong. I think he tapped into. I want to say it was a 22 or 23-year-old cast.
Man, see, you're breaking my heart.
He uncorked it, the cast, and then he like dropped down with the chain with the little thing at the bottom.
All the way down to the
bottom. It was all bloop, 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 and then he pulled it all out. And then I was there with Fish, and him and I were out there.
Fish was a good enough man to
understand. He understood
the level that he was getting,
and he loved it. Loved it. He's like, he loved it. I was like, I took one drink, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, can I get some ice? He's like, absolutely not. You cannot get ice.
Wreck it with ice.
It was horrible. That was good though. It was good but horrible. It was a great experience though. I loved it. That place is amazing. The Jameson Distillery.
It's cool.
It's so awesome.
It is cool.
What else you got? You got some fan questions for us there?
Yeah, so we're going to jump into another edition of This or That.
Ooh.
Another edition of This or That. I like these.
It's going to be shorter this time, but if you guys have good ideas, make sure you put them in the comments below so that we can keep doing these. But it's kind of hard to come up with these original ideas. So we're going to do 10 this time. And you guys remember the rules?
Well, last time you called it pop quiz,
I know. And then
people hated it.
Well, then my girl scolded
Now
me.
we know.
My girl was like, you can't call it pop quiz and it's not a quiz.
It's not a quiz. You didn't really think that one
I
through,
didn't
did you?
think it through. No.
So we're calling it now, This or That?
Yeah.
This or That is perfect.
This segment is This or That. All right.
All right. So,
John, wait. John, let's explain the rules to John again before he
Oh,
messes them up.
no. I've got the
John,
rules, baby.
John, let's
You're the
explain the
one.
rules.
Go ahead.
You have
Let's hear
to
you.
answer
you pick this or that.
this or that, and that's it. You don't get to explain anything. This or that.
No shit.
And it's just your preference. It doesn't have to be real.
All
All
right.
right.
All right.
Let's do it.
So let's go through this. So men's flyweight or women's flyweight?
Men's flyweight.
Men's.
Trash talk or pushing at the weigh-ins?
Trash talk.
Trash talk.
Ropes or cage?
Cage.
First round finish or 25 minutes?
25 minutes. If it was good, gosh. It was-
That's it. First round finish.
All right. Gimmick fight or champ v champ?
Champ v champ.
Champ v champ.
Cocky Connor or humble Connor?
Cocky.
Connor.
Uh,
Well played, John. Well played.
Thank you.
Poirier's hot sauce or proper 12?
Oh.
Poirier's hot sauce.
I'm
I'm a
haven't-
whiskey drinker.
I haven't had his hot sauce, so I'm gonna go proper 12.
All right.
Okay, there you go.
Throw in the towel or go out on their shield?
Shield.
Shield.
Uh,
Killing me.
Grand Prix or number one contender fight?
Grand Prix.
Yeah, Grand Prix.
Love tournament.
And then champ or undefeated?
Undefeated.
Champ.
Okay, and I gotta give a shout out to Fraser, Gian, and Ethan for their help on this one.
Yeah. It was the very first one was the flyweights for men or women. I would have said the women, but then she's cleared out the division, so
That's it.
That's the biggest thing. Yeah, and the men's flyweight now is reinvigorated with some new blood, so it's been fun. Like the last fight with Figueiredo and
Brandon Moreno.
Yeah. That was a great fight. You know.
Ooh.
Yeah. What else you got? You got some fan questions for us now?
Yeah, let's go through some fan
Let's
questions.
do it. Let's go.
1, 2,
Before we get started with the fan questions, you guys hit that little bell off to the side, hit the thumbs up as well. Share our videos to everybody on your social media. Tag us in them so we can also share them back. We're trying to get to 5,000 likes with the thumbs up. And then, like I said, hit that bell so you guys get the notifications. Because I've read a lot of people in the comments saying, hey, how come you guys didn't drop? Like on last Sunday, we dropped later instead of early in the morning. It was my fault. So then the notification will let you know as soon as we drop, so you guys don't think that we're waiting another day. All right. So we're trying to stay consistent with the early morning drops on Sunday, but hit that bell and that'll let you guys know. Appreciate you guys supporting us and continue to grow the podcast. Amazing. We're almost at 90,000, John. 90,000. We gotta get that 100,000. I want to hit 100,000 before June. I think we should be able to do that.
I got it before the end of March, man.
Way
Come on.
before.
All right.
Way before.
March, April, May, June. I
let's
want to
get-
say June.
Let's get the homie Connor back
March.
on it.
Let's go.
Miss Kata asks, Josh and John, can you increase fight IQ inside and outside the cage?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Yeah, you can. It just has to do with your coaching. I think your coaching is what helps you a lot. And you also need to spend time. I'm going through that right now with somebody that I'm training. I can tell you 100 times to put your hands up and keep your hands up. But if you don't freaking do it, then what good is a coach? So you need to follow the instruction and make a conscious effort of making those changes and developing your fight IQ. What is best? Not what's best, not what you like to do, but what is best for you to win. You know, and that will change the way you look at fights. Like, what do I need to do to win this fight? It's called mixed martial arts. You have to mix everything up to be successful. When we talked about Cyril Gane and Rozenstruik, like Cyril Gane can stand with him. That's not a smart fight. If he mixes it up and pressures him, gets to the clinch, pressures him against the fence, he drops down on the legs, does things like that, he has an easier road to success. That's developing your fight IQ. But it's not one thing. It's one thing just to say it. It's one thing to train it. It's another thing to do it in a fight. Sometimes you don't like the way it's going on and you just avoid and you stop the game plan. You've got to continue it, but just do it in a different direction. That's how you develop your fight IQ. Don't fight at their strengths. Try to exploit their weaknesses. That's how you develop your fight IQ.
One of the things people need to remember. And this is why training women is usually much easier than training men. Because women, especially when they come into the gym and they've never fought, they listen. They follow everything that you say perfectly because they don't have an ego about fighting. Men have an ego, and a lot of times, like what Josh is talking about, you're telling, put your hands up, get your hands up. You're saying these things over and over because that person has put something like in their hard drive when they thought they were cool on the street and with their buddies and stuff. They would, shuck and jive and put their hands down because their buddies couldn't fight. And so they could get away with it. Now they've got it stuck in their hard drive like a computer, and you've got to pull that bad data out and get rid of it and make them now understand, look, you're not fighting people that don't know how to fight anymore. You're fighting people that do, and they're going to touch your chin and they're going to put you out. So that's sometimes when you're training guys and getting their fight IQ up is on simple things like Josh is saying, just the simple act of putting your hands in the right position when you are fighting. Yeah, if you're at distance, you can drop your hands down. But when you come into that range, the hands need to be in a certain place. That's simple fight IQ.
To touch on what you were saying about the females, I agree with 100%, not only just at an older age, but at any age. I train young girls in jiu-jitsu all the way from 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, all the way up to to older women. And when you sit them down, you teach them wrestling, you teach them jiu-jitsu, they will pay attention to the details, and I will show the move once or twice to them, and they will do it and they will drill it. Men will not. They will miss a step, 2 or 3 steps sometimes. And then also too, they will do everything fast and hard and try and be explosive with it. And instead of just doing it slow and trying to learn the progressions of each stage of the technique. And so, yeah, to touch exactly on that, like females have that little switch.
They're just smarter.
Yeah, they have that switch in their head really to break down a move and follow along and do it properly. Whereas men
They just don't have egos about it. Yeah. And that makes them learn it just better and quicker.
What else?
Felipe Gutierrez says, if YouTubers are doing exhibitions, when are we getting Podcast Dave versus Josh?
When this podcast reaches 1 million subscribers, we're going for Podcast Dave versus Josh.
You were talking about popping the head like a pimple. Well, that's exactly what I would do to him. This poor guy.
Lennox number 1 says, the other day I watched Bisping versus GSP and I was shocked how Bruce Buffer spoke to John at the end. Just wondering, was there beef between the two? I don't know anything about it, but apparently
neither do I. And I was there, I guess. Bruce Buffer talked to me. Yeah. Bruce Buffer's never said a bad word to me ever. Let's just be honest. And I pick on Bruce all the time. Okay? Bruce he's as nice a guy. He doesn't have, any bad feelings towards anyone. He's never said anything mean to me ever. And I do things to screw with him all the time. So I don't know what the guy's talking about.
He just had his 25th
25 years.
25
been doing
years.
That. Yeah.
Impressive.
Congratulations to the Buff.
Congratulations.
Yeah, man. He just, he's a different dude, man, but he loves the UFC. He loves the sport of MMA. He loves what he does. Is he the best announcer ever? No. His brother, probably the best, fight announcer, probably the best guy ever.
Yeah, I think it's really what you like. I think Bruce is definitely up there. I think Bruce
created his own style.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm glad he did. He separated himself from his brother
because he's not his brother. Exactly.
I think that was good. Good on his part.
Yep.
Next,
Piotr Klekengier. ask for both of you, what's one place where you would like to work in the world as a fighter and as a referee? And do you still think you could? I think the answer is no to that last part.
Yeah, I can't fight anymore. Don't want to fight anymore. One place in the world that I would have liked to have had a fight. For
No,
me,
you just want to work a fight.
Oh,
we'll say.
work a fight?
So now we'll say now, working a fight. One place in the world you could do it. Is he talking about country or stadium, arena type thing? What do you think?
Didn't specify there, but he did put the Earth globe, so probably just like destination.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
For me, it would probably be. I would. For me, it'd probably be Rome. I would want to do it in Rome.
Dude, it's awesome.
Yeah, and I've never been either to Rome, so
I
think Rome. I mean, outside of my bucket list would be Switzerland, but that's only because I'd want to go there to like get some skiing in and like see some friends, that I have that live there. So, but
yeah,
that
okay.
like
I'm the same as you. That's why I asked location wise.
Yeah.
If I could do a fight anywhere, I would want to do one in Rome Coliseum.
Yeah.
It's broken down and everything. That's I know they've done concerts there and things like that. That would be the place if I could do a fight anywhere, be it referee, be it freaking commentate. That would be incredible to be in that Coliseum doing fights.
Be insane,
Oh.
Yeah, be insane. Next,
Stephen Wright wants to know, Big John, what is your biggest regret from your refereeing career?
I don't have regrets from my referee.
Missing a headbutt.
No, that was definitely that. If you want to say what was the best moment of my career,
missing that headbutt. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't look at things like that. There's a lot of guys that I wish I could have refereed this person or that person. I had my bucket list things, and I basically achieved all of them. Places that I wanted to work, I always wanted to referee a fight in Madison Square Garden. That was a biggie to me. I got it. And I always wanted to do a Fedor fight, and I got it multiple times. And just certain things that over time you go, man, I was so lucky to sit there and say regrets. If there's going to be any regrets, it would be the ones like Josh is talking, the ones where I didn't see something that occurred or I could have been better. That would be my regrets.
Next.
And this may be the last one, but I'll let you know. Ian Reffel wants to know, hey, I just watched the third fight between Gilbert and Josh, and to be honest, I thought Josh won the fight. What are your thoughts on the whole trilogy? Josh and John's opinion, please.
On the whole fight, on the whole trilogy.
Well, hold on. Did you when you're saying that about the person asking the question, he watched what fight and thought Josh won?
You watched the third.
The third fight?
Yeah.
He's right. Josh did win that fight.
Toad. He said
The Toad.
It was a good fight though. I missed out on an opportunity in the fourth, I believe it was, to finish the fight. And just couldn't keep the submission on. I had the rear naked for the last probably minute of the fight. The same thing happened in the first fight. I was in the same position, the same time. I believe it was the fourth round. I finished the round on his back. Both first and third fight, I was on his back when the round finished, I think, with a rear naked choke and couldn't finish it. Kid was just good at avoiding getting subbed. I mean, just good. He's tough. He's a good kid. Just, shitty situation. I mean, it is what it is. That's up until I've told myself this, maybe I'm wrong, John. Up until the Tony Ferguson fight and the Yves Edwards fight, I feel like the fights that I did lose, that I didn't lose them. I felt like, gosh, man, they were fights that time ran out, or I felt like I won those fights. I just didn't get the call. And that's why you don't leave it up to the judges, that position. Like the Bobby Green fight, I thought I won, but could I have done more? Hell yeah. I wasn't even tired. I was like laughing and joking in the cage. I don't know. I was being a fucking idiot. I was so mad at myself after. I'm like, I wasn't even exhausted. I wasn't tired at all. And it just was one of those frustrating moments for me. I'm just like, I wasn't even supposed to fight him. I was supposed to fight Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson pulled out of the fight like 2 weeks before. It just was like, all right, whatever. And I just lost to Benson. The Benson fight, I thought I won. The trilogy of it all, though, is that I'm glad I look back at my career. People they always say the Nate Diaz fight is the fight that I should no, it's all my fights with Gil. I got too much respect for Gil. I love every moment. I wouldn't take anything back, you know, in those fights. Obviously, I wish the third one went my way, but I got nothing but respect for him and his family and his wife and all that. Like I'm glad I had that in my career. I had my nemesis and he was my nemesis. He made me better. I would have never been as good as I was had I not had him to push me and drive me in training.
I will tell you about my memories of those fights. The first fight wasn't really that close. It was you dominated most of that fight. He didn't have those moments that you look and you go, oh, you know, he got that round. I think he got one round on you in the first fight.
No, it was 50-45.
50-45. Okay, it was what I was saying.
Yeah,
I can't remember it, but it was close. As far as the second fight was one that you were always a step behind in it.
Yeah,
he was always in the exchanges. You guys, I was there. I was loving that fight, and I was pissed off that Josh Rosenthal was able to referee it because afterwards it was such a good fight. I'm just kidding. But, you know, I can remember Josh coming out of the cage and going, holy fuck, that was a great fight. And it was. And it was really close. But if you go back and you watch it, you guys would, you know, they would throw, and it was always Gil kind of landing the better shots in the end.
Yep.
But it was close, and it was just a tough fight for both guys. But Gil won the fight. You go to your third fight. Again, I thought you won the fight. It was close, and it was, you guys had learned so much about each other. You knew where your strengths were that you could try to do. He knew where his strengths, and you guys were trying to implement it, and you guys stonewalled each other in a lot of situations and stuff. But that's what a trilogy is supposed to be. It's the ones where you look and the fights are so close overall. You have one winner, then the other guy wins, and then you come into that third. And in the end, after the third fight, there's still a question of who's the real better fighter between those two, because it was so close. And that's exactly the way it's supposed to be. I thought it's one of the best trilogies in MMA that there was, just due to the level that you guys were at and what you brought out of each other.
I thought he made me a better fighter. Every time I stepped into the AKA gym, I had to think to myself, he's probably going to be next. And if he's not next, he's one fight away from fighting again. You know, it just, for me, it was the entryway into the UFC that upset me the most. Is I fought him knowing that it would have been me fighting Benson that first fight in the UFC. I would have got,
if you had won that fight. That's right.
And that would have been for the title. And and then thinking in terms of, like, instead of fighting Nate, I would have fought Ben. And on that night, I wasn't going to lose to Ben. Just my mindset on that night of, like, I'm back in the UFC. This is my first fight. Everything was preparation. Everything like that was great for that fight. I mean, I came back from China doing a movie. I had literally like 6-7 weeks to film. I would 6-7 weeks to get in shape, and I was not in shape. I was in China for 2 months before that. I come back, and it was, my whole focus was just the Nate Diaz fight. And that's what it would have been for a title fight against Benson. It would have just been like, my whole focus would have been Ben. I think I would have beat him for the title that night, but it is what it is, man. I mean, look, I talked in the beginning of the show, is that I'm blessed. I'm blessed where we're at. I'm an analyst now for Bellator. We work for CBS and Showtime, you know, and Viacom. It's just, and now we have our show. I'm blessed. Everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't change anything. I know it sucks that I didn't get the win and the nod, but I thank Gil also too for making me better.
There you go.
All right, this will be the last one from Thomas Vesley. Are there any benefits in training BJJ with a gi for an MMA fighter?
Yes.
Go ahead, Josh.
Absolutely.
Let me hear the benefits.
The benefits is it teaches them to go step by step and learn the actual techniques instead of just jumping to things. Like when we talked about earlier about the women, how they pay attention to detail and they learn step by step, and then they can do the move after you show it once or twice. Men have like you said, a program, their program in their head, their hard drive to just power through things or go really fast and hard. Well, the gi forces you to slow it down and learn step by step. Let's just say I'm passing guard, right? put one hand on the hip, grab the pant, open the leg with the elbow, grab the other one at the knee, push the leg by and guide it by, chest pressure to chest pressure. That's real simple in showing you on a gi. Grips here, grip here, move the leg, move the body, circle around, chest to chest. With no gi, they put their hand there, their hand slips off. They open the elbow to open the thigh, the elbow slips off. They're like, shit, they can't get anything. They're having to, so they're like, you know what, just fuck it. I'm just going to pass by real quick and run around you. That's when people just learn strictly by no gi, I feel like, sure, you're good at attacks, but you're not good at the technique. So in no gi, your attacks are a lot faster. Slapping an armbar, slapping a triangle, slapping a kimura on, those things, catching people in transition, that's good for no gi. But you've got to learn the technique properly to be able to do that. And I think the gi teaches you to slow it down and learn it step by step better in the beginning. And then you can go ahead and move on to no gi, or doing both simultaneously as you're going. It also helps as well. Depends on how much time you want to dedicate. If you're not a fighter, then you're really not spending that much time probably in the gym as much as a fighter is to learn the step-by-step processes.
I always look at it, first off, the gi is great, but I call the gi is for old men. And why I say that is when you're an old man and you're doing jiu-jitsu, your athleticism is kind of left. And so now it is about technique. If you're a lightweight fighter, not meaning 155, a lighter weight, 125, 130, 135 pound guy or woman, and you're training, you can't power out of things, no matter if it's no gi or with a gi. So you're always learning the technique the right way, because powering out is not, it's just not a tool for you. Where for bigger people, it is a tool. I think that the gi for bigger people is really important, because they can't power out. Just like what Josh is saying. I grab a hold of your collar and I hold it just a certain way. I control your entire body position with that one hand. It doesn't matter how strong you are. You're not going to just be able to power out of moving my hand out of the position. So it does make people that have strength, speed, power, it makes them slow down and learn technique for what they're saying they want to do. But in the end, I always think if you are going to learn with the gi, then you have to learn the alternative with no gi. So if I take and I put my hand to grab the collar here, well, in the no gi situation, I take my hand and I grab and cup here. I've got to have the same kind of handholds for gi and no gi. And that's where some of the problems with some of the guys that are fantastic with gi, they don't learn the same techniques. Well, this is how you're going to do it when the gi's not there. And you don't have that material to grab a hold of. You're going to have to grab, skin, leg, wrist, bicep, tricep. All those are different. So both of them are important. But I always think the more athletic you are, the more explosive you are, the more powerful you are, the better the gi is for you to learn it.
Yeah. You don't want to rely on your athleticism to get you through a fight. You want to rely on your technique.
Yep.
And I think the gi slows that down enough for you to learn those movements. Is that everything? All right. Well, hey,
we're good.
We had another amazing, great show. Big John, podcast Dave.
Hold it. I got to ask you, I forgot. Damn, I'm so glad I remembered.
Old age.
Did you see the fight?
Oh, jeez.
Did you see the fight?
Oh,
did you see?
Are you really going to bring this up?
Did you see the Oklahoma bathroom brawl?
Oh, yes, I did. Oh, man. It was like this guy in the bathroom beat up an University of Oklahoma wide receiver.
Yes, he's a wide receiver.
Beat up a wide receiver because he was talking smack, and they were going back.
Oh, no, he wasn't talking smack. He was trying to alleviate a confrontation. At least that's what his lawyer said, because his lawyer's full of shit.
Yeah, as they pushed him, and he just, oh man, he's lighting him up right here.
Oh,
and the big slam to the top, then the ground and pound.
Oh, this is, hold on. My whole thing with this is why I say, hey, yeah, you're a big football player. That's great, dude. Remember, football's not a fight. And the one thing that we've said for a long time, a long time. And, there are nerd assassins out there, people. There are people that you look at and you're reading a book by the cover, and that book, the pages inside will fuck you up. Okay? Don't freaking do it. Man, understand there are people that will make your life miserable for you're going to wake up the next day and go, why? Why did I do that? I love it. I hope he learned a lesson.
This dude that beat him up is a cross between Jake Paul and Ben Askren.
He's Ben Askren, man.
Jake Paul, Ben Askren. But he slaps him first and then hits him with the right hand. And then he backside takes him down, goes to freaking mount. I love it, just starts pounding him. And then the best part is his brother, the littler guy with the beanie on. He basically waits for a guy, holds the guy against it, and waits for another guy to get out of the way. Yeah, I want to take him over there. I want to smack his head over in the wall. Then just positions him now, and then just all of a sudden slams him over. Watch this dude's head smacking the tile against the wall. Watch him. And here you go. Boom. Yeah, love that. That felt good. When you're watching this, John, this is great. The guy on top right now has cowboy boots on.
I know.
It's grappling.
The best. They're brothers.
He's grappling with cowboy boots. He body slams the wide receiver, takes his back, puts the hooks in. Oh, man. So if you guys are at home, look up Oklahoma in YouTube. Look up Oklahoma football player brawl with MMA fighter at the Norman Bar. Check that out. You guys will crack up. Somebody pushes the Ben Askren, Jake Paul looking guy.
Oh, it's the wide receiver's friend that he's with.
Yeah. Isn't that great? You have friends that pick fights for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's friend. You can look over and say, thank you. That dude whooped my ass. You got your ass whipped too. Okay, you paid. I'm just saying, look, guys, don't fight in the streets.
No,
if you're going to fight, understand you need to know what you're doing. Because you're an athlete doesn't mean that you're going to be a good fighter. And, this guy ended up in surgery, broken orbital. Had to have, a lot of surgery to get, his self put back together. So there are consequences to these decisions. Well, John, I was stupid enough to have enough of these fights. Don't do it.
John, the difference is, though, is when you're this age, which was what, 1926, 28, 1928. Yep. And then even at my age, like when we ran into people at the bar, they didn't know how to fight like this.
Not like that.
Not like this.
I know. That's
you know what I mean? So we got away with a lot of stuff knowing that we probably knew a lot more than everybody else did. We didn't have to worry about little Ben Askren and Jake Paul whooping our ass like this.
That's it, man.
We were I'm assuming we were the Ben Askren and the Jake Paul situation right now. That was us right there in these type of situations. So, I mean, I wasn't wearing cowboy boots, but I was. In this situation, though, like now you don't know who knows what. I mean, there's some videos of these young kids.
Oh,
it like in the playground, some kids bullying them. And there's one that went viral for
there was
4 or 5 years ago.
The one where the kid's getting pushed and finally takes his backpack, puts it down, and lights that kid up, and then throws on a beautiful armbar.
Flying armbar. He hits like a flying armbar. It was insane. I was like, holy crap.
I was so proud of that kid.
I was like, holy crap. I get nervous when they start jumping flying arm bars on concrete. Yeah. but yeah, I was very impressed. And I'm thinking to myself, this is the age we live in now. So you guys got to be very careful about who you are messing with. Just insane right there.
Well, and understand, man, someone picks you up and slams you on concrete. I used that. It was a great technique. I used a lot when I was a young person. Hey, the ground is hard.
Yeah.
And man, if someone drives you into it from an elevated position, you'll be lucky if you stay conscious. And trust me, it's going to affect your ability to perform. Don't get in street fights.
Yeah,
go to the gym.
So dumb.
And if you're a football player, play football. Don't push people in the bathroom.
One of the last times someone tried to pick a fight with me, I was at a bar here in Campbell in California, or in San Jose, or outside of San Jose. And I was running around the taxi cab because I had called the cab because the guy had tried to fight me earlier. And I had called the cab. I was like, I'm getting out of here. I believe it or not, I wasn't drinking. And so the guy's chasing after me. He comes out of the bar, out of the Cardiff, and he's like, I'm going to kick your ass. And I was like, oh, you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight. I started running around the taxi cab. In the middle of the street, this fucker's chasing me. He's chasing me around. Cops show up. They sit us both down on the curb, talk to us. And I'm like, I got lucky that one of the cops knew who I was. And he's like, all right, Josh, get out of here. But then the other kid, he was drunk, obviously. Just
Do you remember what happened with Roger Huerta years ago?
Yes, I do.
6th Street in Austin.
That was in Austin, correct?
Yeah. Go back to that, man. You know, that the guy that he ended up fighting there, that guy played linebacker. Well, he played at the University of Texas. Then he was playing for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh,
and that guy punched a girl, knocks her out, and Roger ends up in a fight off of it. But you look at you go, man, people, because you play sports, doesn't mean you're a fighter. Stop.
Damn, I forgot. I didn't know that guy. I knew he played football, but I didn't think he was.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he played for the Atlanta Falcons for a little bit.
Jeez, man.
Play after this.
Gosh, guy who hit girl, Roger Huerta. This is crazy. Insane.
Yep.
I'm watching it right now on the on YouTube. All right, guys. Well, hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up. That shares our videos. Hit the comment section. Let us know if there's anything you guys want to talk about, us to talk about. And we want to thank you guys for following the podcast as well as sharing our podcast. And like I said earlier, go ahead and tag us every time you guys repost our stuff, and we'll retweet it or repost it as well. We want to thank you guys for that. Hit us up in the stories as well. And we want to thank you guys. This is amazing.
Definitely want to thank you guys. This is the one I am going to look at comments. So I'm going to be Josh Thompson. I told my wife that I would look at the comments on this show. So go ahead, say nasty things about me. I don't care. It's not gonna hurt my feelings, but say something and I will try to respond to you if you have a question or something like that, or I'll give you that thumbs up that Josh gives you. So have fun, write something at least semi decent, and don't fight in the streets.
John,
Joshua.
The thing that I want people to understand is in our comment section, if you go to other people's YouTube comment sections, it's like Butcher Street. It's so bad. It's like a bloodbath in other people's comments. Ours is pretty good. I mean, there's some people that are in there that are, being a little rude, but I actually go through it because there's a lot of positive energy going through there. And I love that about our comment section. I've read some other comment sections of some other MMA podcasts, and I will not bring up those podcast names, but it's like a bloodbath in that comment section. I swear it's so bad. It's several of them. But hey, I want to thank all of our fans, all of the people that are tuning in. And I want to thank you guys for being positive in our comment section. And also tell us what you guys like about the show and let us know what you guys would like us to do more of, or something new. And John, I feel like it's your time, buddy. What do you got to say?
There's only one thing to say, baby. To everyone out there, see ya.